Hi, I haven't made a video in quite a while. I have just been really struggling. At first, it was because I was really tired all the time. But there's something that's on my mind that I kind of want to talk about for a minute. Veganism. Okay, I'm a vegan, and the thing is I feel like people online and otherwise, I guess, are very anti-veganism in ways that are honestly really dumb, and is I think the reason this transpires is because there's some annoying vegans online, and there's also like I think a lot of people want to prove that it's okay they're not vegan when it's like I personally am not asking you to prove anything. Um I recently so let's start with this. I recently was hanging out with somebody, and it was brought up that I was vegan, and then they were like, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, so I'm afraid I'm going to screw up talking about this and what I want to say. Um, and they were like, "Oh, I don't like the way some vegans like behave or like are towards other people." And I was kind of like, "Well, I feel like that's not actually that common." And like, I mean, I think that like for instance, like me growing up, people were a dick to me because I was vegan, because where I lived, like I was like the only vegan, and there's a lot of places like that, and like non-vegans outnumber vegans. And I think that like even that just kind of shows that people are more likely to be made fun of for being vegan than the other way around. Like, it's socially acceptable to eat meat. I think that a lot of people, when they're complaining about vegans being mean, I think it's like an over exaggeration, and they're just going into that because they're trying to prove somehow that they're morally more correct for not being vegan. Because that's like definitely a thing online where people want to like prove that they're actually more morally correct for not being vegan, which obviously that goes both ways. But I'm just saying it's kind of weird. Like okay, so they ended up making me feel like the situation was more tense than it was, because like they kept saying they disagreed with me, but then they also like kept bringing up reasons why not everyone can be vegan. And that's something I've noticed that happens a lot online, and also it happened to me in this situation where it's like, I didn't even say that. Like, I literally did not even say that everyone has to be vegan. So why are you giving me like 10 reasons not everyone can be vegan? It's like this very like weird anti-vegan rhetoric that is like, hey, I'm going to prove that not everyone can be vegan. And so somehow that shows that veganism isn't as helpful or as good as it could be, when it's like, okay, first of all, again, I never said that everyone has to be vegan. But second of all, I think a lot of the arguments are honestly really bad, and I think that like they're used because people feel the need to prove themselves. Like they use the argument that like something about soy is bad for the environment, and a lot of vegan foods have soy. And it's like, do you realize how bad the meat industry is for the environment? Or the dairy industry? Like, really, really fucking bad, first of all. Like, so bad that this is, like, mentioned a lot of times when people are talking about ways to be more environmentally good, is like, we would be being more environmentally good if we were vegan. Yes, there's downfalls. Yes, there's like always going to be downfalls to anything. But I'm just saying that is like not a good argument to say that. Plus, okay, another thing about this that gets to me is like people who aren't vegan also eat the things vegans eat. Like literally, like so many people eat soy. And like that's like always the argument I don't understand is it's like not everyone can eat the things that you eat. And it's like, what do you mean? Like most people do. Like unless you're one of those people who literally just like eats only like meat and grease, like okay, but that's like not healthy. Um which it doesn't have to be, I guess, but like I'm just saying, you know, like another argument, like yeah, there's a lot of arguments like that, like oh, like vegans are doing things that are environmentally bad when it's like you guys are doing the same things though. Like you aren't, like when people are like leather vegan leather is made of plastic. It's like, okay, well first of all, not all vegan leather is made of plastic. And there's other things we could do, right? Other than use plastic. But every human on this planet uses plastic in their clothing. Like unless you might be like the one person who doesn't, but like pretty much every person has plastic in their clothing somehow. And vegans aren't the ones destroying the world by like having shoes made of plastic. And you probably have shoes made of plastic too. Like this is always used in like a way where I'm like, why are you acting like this is like proof that people shouldn't be vegan or something? Like this doesn't make any sense. I don't know. They said those two things, and then I'm trying to remember because I know they said a few other things that I was just like, that doesn't even, like again, I didn't even say everyone has to be vegan, so I'm just kind of confused why they were acting so, I don't know, like it felt like the energy was combative, and I feel like I don't understand. People just, it is hard to not just call people whiny, honestly, because it's like, of all the things to complain about, you're complaining about like veganism's being dicks sometimes when it's like, again, oh yeah, this is like a really big part of the conversation. I was like saying more people are not vegan than are vegan, and people were a dick to me growing up about being vegan. And I think that's pretty culturally a thing because people are so obsessed with eating meat, and culturally it's accepted to eat meat. You don't need to like prove yourself. You don't need to like act like vegans are in your house like bullying you every day because you, like, it doesn't make any sense. I said something like vegans are in the minority, and they misinterpreted what I was saying. And to be fair, they were misinterpreting, but I honestly think that like they were probably seeing the worst in me if they seriously thought this is what I was saying. They were saying, you're not a minority group because you're vegan, and you're not oppressed because you're vegan. And I was just like that's not what I meant. What I said is they're in the minority and meat eaters are in the majority. And so it's more likely that I'm being affected by meat eaters than the other way around, is what I was trying to say. But they took what I said and was like acting like I had said that I was oppressed. And then I was like shocked and like uncomfortable because I was like, what? I would never say that. And then it kind of felt like I then had to like defend myself against like being the bad guy because they misinterpreted what I said, when it's like, I think most people speak like that. I think a lot of people say minority when they mean like less than, like less people like blank than blank. So I just feel like they were maybe seeing the worst in me or something. So that was really, really uncomfortable. And yeah, I just feel like a lot of the arguments like don't actually make any sense and are just like one, not every vegan is saying everyone has to be vegan, but like if you're going to make the argument that veganism is bad because not everyone can be vegan, that doesn't make any sense. And I just feel like people just need to really, really get over veganism culturally, because it feels like we're being the ones who are, if anyone's being bullied, it's vegans. But like, I think that like, yes, like some vegans are dickheads, but I don't get why we're arguing that it's like actually more moral to not be vegan. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, I'm trying to remember because I feel like there's like a million other examples of this that I've seen where it's like someone's saying this just to defend themselves, just to say, well, I'm allowed to eat meat. And it's like, okay, I can't stop you. But also they're using it and it doesn't make full sense. Like, I'm trying to remember because I feel like they said another comment that I was like, that's like, what? Oh, okay, yeah, this is the last one I'm going to do before I stop the video. When people go, being vegan is a privilege, I think that's so dumb because it's like the two main people I know, and like that's saying a lot. And yeah, sure, I don't know a lot of people, but like I only really know two vegans, like on a personal kind of level. The main two vegans I know are like both very or quite poor. And I'm quite poor too. I think that like most people who want to be vegan will just be vegan is the thing. Like if you don't like meat, you're not going to eat meat. If you like vegetables, you're going to eat vegetables. It depends on what you like and not your income usually, or what you think is right, not your income. Because I think that a lot of the time being vegan isn't actually very expensive if you just literally like cook vegetables and have like normal foods that like everyone eats. Like it's not even like I'm eating crazy shit. Like I'm just eating vegetables and beans and stuff. Which I think the average American probably eats those things. It's kind of crazy if you don't eat vegetables, but like I can get there maybe some inkling of truth to it. Like, you know, like if you're someone who works a lot and you have a big family and you like don't have the time and energy to make vegan meals, like, yeah, okay. And then you're also poor on top of that. But I think most of the time saying veganism is a privilege is kind of bullshit. Like, I don't think that, like, on average, vegans are, like, literally more privileged than other people. I think a lot of people who, especially when it's like, that's such a weird argument because, like, a lot of people are middle class and can't afford to be vegan and they're just not. Like, what's the argument? What even is the argument is the thing. But, like, I think for me, I'm just saying, I just don't think it's actually a privilege. I think there's, like, a sliver of truth to that. But I think 99.99% of the time, that's just not a good argument. And, like, I think that it's just weird. It's just, like, weird to use that argument. It's like, okay, like, I just don't think that's true. I just don't think that, like, I think that the average person can be vegan if they really want to. Like, and I don't know, it's just, it really, really irks me. It's like, it's so hard to like talk about because it feels like there's like a million examples and like, I think tons of reasons why they don't make sense. I don't know. I feel like there was another topic I wanted to state at the moment, but I don't really remember it right now. I just think that just be honest that you just don't want to be vegan. Like, why are you covering it up with like almost like, sometimes it's almost like SJW language where it's like, actually, I'm standing up for poor people because poor people can't be vegan. It's like, you don't need to do that. You can just say you don't want to be vegan. Like, it's fine. It also just feels like it sucks because it feels like there actually is a group of creatures that are being, I don't want to use the word oppressed because I feel like someone's going to take that out of context and like say I'm comparing human rights to animal rights, but it's like, I don't know, if you were, no, not you, but if you take a creature and do all the shit that we're doing to these creatures, I don't know how you can say they're not being oppressed. I guess people only want that to be a human word, but it's like just kind of sad because it's just, we just sit here having these stupid human arguments, and the planet is still suffering and animals are still suffering, and I'm not really supposed to say that because it's just considered whiny, stupid veganism. It's just very, I don't know. I feel like there was another point I wanted to make, but I think that's the problem, is I feel like there's like a million points I could make when it comes to the weird ways that people talk about veganism. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna stop for now because I don't want to have huge pauses in this video, because I don't really edit as of now, and I don't want to, you know, just make a really boring video. So bye for now.